All right, finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Nvidia's earnings are out, and we have to break them down as the stock's up around $4 after the bell, and we broke $140 per share. So let's just dive into it, guys. Let's not waste any time on this intro. Adjusted earnings per share for Nvidia came in at 81 cents, which beat the 74 cents expected on sales of $44.06 billion versus $43.21 billion expected. So they beat EPS and they beat on revenue, and their guidance is pretty solid. It looks like here they see Q2 sales of $44.1 to $45.9 billion versus $45.78 billion expected. Not too bad there. And it looks like here data revenue was at $39.1 billion versus $39.4 billion expected. And gaming revenue, man, what a beat there for gaming revenue. $3.8 billion versus $2.83 billion expected. So very good numbers from Nvidia. Just looking at these very quickly, solid numbers, solid guidance. And again, the stock is popping over $4, right around $4 after the bell, or about 2.5%. And you're noticing here, before we dive into the actual earnings release, which we're going to do here in a second, you're noticing on the chart, we're now fully starting to break out of this downtrending channel that we've been in for a good 2 weeks now, right? You're noticing here, if I zoom in, we were downtrending in this channel for the last 2 weeks. Now we're breaking out. We hit $140 for the first time in God knows how long, months, right? It seems like. And now we're back over these moving averages on the 1 hour time frame. And pretty much we're fully breaking out as of right now. And mind you, the earnings call hasn't happened yet, as of now when I'm making this video. So we'll see how the stock does post earnings call, during the earnings call. But at this point, man, $140 is where we're at, pretty much. 138, 140, which is a big spot on these charts. If we're really able to gain momentum above 140 on Nvidia stock, that's where a lot more momentum is going to build up. And honestly, at that point, boom, all-time highs is where we could be going sooner rather than later. So I have the actual press release here on Chrome pulled up. So let me actually pull it up so you guys can see it. So let's pull it up here on Chrome. So you're noticing the headline here says, Nvidia announces financial results for first quarter fiscal 2026. So revenue of $44.1 billion, which we said that's up 12% from just last quarter and up 69% from a year ago. So I think when we covered Nvidia last, we covered how analysts had them doing 65% or growing 65%. They came in at 69%. So more than what analysts were expecting. And data center revenue grew 10% from last quarter and 73% from a year ago. Think about that, guys. 73% growth year over year for data center. And let's come down here a little bit. So this goes into a little bit of, what's going on with H20, China, right, which probably is affecting their guidance a little bit. So it says here, the start of the press release says, on April 9th, Nvidia was informed by the U.S. government that a license is required for exports of its H20 products into the China market. As a result of these new requirements, Nvidia incurred a $4.5 billion charge in the first quarter of fiscal 2026 associated with H20 excess inventory and purchase obligations as the demand for H20 diminished. And sales of H20 products were $4.6 billion for the first quarter of fiscal 2026 prior to the new export licensing requirements. Nvidia was unable to ship an additional $2.5 billion of H20 revenue in the first quarter. So their revenues would have been even more. Think about that. Even higher if we didn't get these H20 bans, in other words. Think about that. And coming down here a little bit more, excuse me, guys, we can see some more numbers. This shows us the Q1 summary gap. You guys see right here. We can see gross margin, right? Across the board here for full year, or for Q4, Q1, excuse me, quarter over quarter, year over year. So if you guys want to look deeper into that, of course, it's on the actual earnings release. So the crazy thing is, man, if we didn't get these H20 restrictions, their sales would have been even better. The growth would have been even higher, probably over 70% year over year. Think about that, man. And guidance, we covered that. Revenues expected to be $45 billion for the second quarter, plus or minus 2%. This outlook reflects a loss in H20 revenue of approximately $8 billion due to the recent export control limitations. And if those limitations get lifted, if these restrictions get lifted, imagine how much Nvidia stock's going to go up based on just that added revenue that's going to be brought back to the company. That in and of itself, if these restrictions get lifted, that could be huge for the stock. But it says here, GAAP and non-GAAP gross margins are expected to be about 71.8 to 72% respectively. Looks like GAAP and non-GAAP operating expenses are expected to be approximately $5.7 billion and $4 billion respectively. Looks like data center revenue, like we said earlier, was up 10% year over year, or excuse me, quarter over quarter in terms of revenue, and 73% from last year. That's insane. And Nvidia announced in the quarter that they're building factories in the United States and working with their partners to produce Nvidia AI supercomputers in the United States. And they also, a big highlight here for data center, they introduced Nvidia Blackwell Ultra and Nvidia Dynamo. I'm combining words here, guys, for accelerating and scaling AI reasoning models. And on top of that, they announced partnership with Humane, which we covered before, to build AI factories in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to drive the next wave of AI development. And the list goes on. There's so many highlights from the quarter. I mean, literally, guys, if I read off all these updates, all these highlights rather, we'd be here all day. And gaming and AI PC, that segment grew quite nicely and crushed the estimate. So that came in at $3.8 billion, up 48% from the previous quarter and 42% from a year ago. Think about that. And that's after they announced the Nvidia GeForce RTX 5070 and RTX 5060, bringing Blackwell graphics to gamers at prices starting from $299 for desktops and $1,099 for laptops. And they also unveiled Nvidia DLSS 4, which is now available in over 125 games, which we can see right here. And they announced the Nintendo Switch 2 is powered by an Nvidia processor and AI-powered DLSS, delivering up to 4K gaming. Insane. And we can see the other segments. We have professional visualization. That came in at $509 million revenue-wise for the quarter. It's up 19% year over year. Excuse me. In automotive and robotics, that revenue was at $567 million, up, let's see, 72% from a year ago. Not too bad. They announced a collaboration with General Motors on next-generation vehicles, factories, and robots using NVIDIA Omniverse, NVIDIA Cosmos, and NVIDIA Drive AGX. And they launched NVIDIA Halos, a unified safety system combining NVIDIA's automotive hardware, software, and advanced AV safety AI research. And a bunch more. Again, if we covered all these bullet points, all the highlights from the different segments, we're going to be here, we'd be here all freaking day. But great quarter for NVIDIA, solid guidance, and the fact that the numbers were honestly better than expected considering the H20 restrictions. This is probably what is sending up the stock. The fact that, again, the numbers are better than expected, guidance for the coming quarter with these H20 restrictions priced in, essentially, is better than expected. This is sending the stock up. And now, again, earnings call didn't happen yet, or it's about to start now probably, which I have to get on for that, so I'm going to end off the video in a second. But that's going to influence the stock, right? And I just realized I didn't pull up the chart. Hold on a second. Here we go. Now we can see we're moving up even more. Look at this stock price, guys. This is good news, man. And again, it's because, in my opinion, things are looking better than expected with the loss of H20 in China. And obviously that could get uglier. We'll see how it goes. But I'll take it. As an Nvidia shareholder, man, I'm happy. I'll take it. The stock's up now about 3.5% to 4% after the bell. What more could you ask for? And again, like I said earlier in the video, charts-wise, 140 where we're at now, this is a big level of resistance, which ultimately, if we're able to break out of here, we could fill the gap towards the mid-high 140s, no problem, maybe even past that point, So that's kind of the breakdown here on Nvidia, their earnings. More of a quicker video, guys, kind of to get the info out there for you all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Join the free email stock newsletter. And check out my Patreon if you want to keep up with what I'm doing in my portfolio. I posted an update today and yesterday. We're investing thousands of dollars a month in that portfolio, guys. And we're crushing it. Crushing it in that portfolio. And Nvidia is one of the core holdings. And I'm up a lot, doing well in that portfolio, guys. So check it out. Link down below if you want. No pressure. And with that being said, cheers. I'll catch you in the next video.